Hello guys, welcome to Voxel's YouTube channel and I am Piyush Goyal. In this video we're gonna focus on true, false, not given. So this is another video of this particular series. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So the title of the passage is saying Ludwig van Beethoven. So as you must have heard this particular name Beethoven, so he is considered one of the best, if not the best composers of music, okay, till date. So in this paragraph there should be some information about his life given, but before reading the paragraph, what we will do, we will go to question number question words. We will read the instruction words, questions 1 to 8, and we have to write true, false, or not given. So you have to be very careful about the instruction words. You cannot write yes, no, not given being the same, so it doesn't even count that much. No, yes or no, because your answer most probably be marked as incorrect, because if you are not able to follow the instructions, what else you gonna do? So first question, so in this we will see how to solve these questions so that you can get the correct answer every time. First, it is not known exactly when Beethoven was born. So this question is saying we do not know the exact date of the Beethoven, birth date of the Beethoven basically. So when the answer will be true, yes, when we don't know the exact date, it will be written Beethoven was born like in the early particular year or in this particular month, but date is not given, something like that. When the answer will be false, when we know the exact date of the Beethoven's birth, okay, and when it will be not given, when there is no mention about his birth date. Okay, now we will go to the paragraph. Composer Ludwig van Beethoven, so this is our keyword, let me mark it, was born on or near December 16, 1770 in Bonn, Germany. So here it is given he was born either on or near this particular date. So we don't know the exact date. The year is confirmed 7070, but the exact date is not confirmed. Even the month is confirmed, you can say, but the date of the birth, it is not confirmed. We cannot say anything for sure. So here it is also saying is not known exactly. So our answer will be true. Yeah, we don't know the exact date of the Beethoven's birth. Second question, sorry, Beethoven suffered cruelty at the hands of his father. So when the answer will be true, when his father beat him up. Okay. So when his father beat him up, we will say yeah, true. This is answer is true. When the answer will be false, when his father never beat him, uh, or you can say there is just mention of only love, nothing about any physical assault, okay, or even mental assault. There is nothing mentioned about that, or the okay, when it will be not given, when there is no mention about love or assault. Let's see. He is widely considered the greatest composer of all time. Sometime between the births of his two younger brothers, Beethoven's father began teaching him music with an extraordinary rigor and brutality that affected him for the rest of his life. So here it is written brutality. So here it is written Beethoven's father began teaching him with rigor, hard work and brutality. Okay, with a lot of like intensity and brutality. Brutality in other terms means cruelty. So yes, he was being beaten. Sorry about that. The answer will be true. Next question. Beethoven's father was also a talented musician. So when the answer will be true, when his father, but maybe the name is given or maybe the name is not given, but it will be mentioned his father is a talented musician. So instead of talented musician, they can even give a particular musical instrument and say he was God gifted in that particular field, something like that. Okay, so then our answer will be true. When our answer will be false, when it will be written specifically when his father was not a talented musician or his knowledge of music was not that good, something like that. Okay, when the answer will be not given, when his father, there is no mention about his father's talent. Okay, so we will say not given. Let's read further. On a nearly daily basis, Beethoven was flogged, locked in the cellar and deprived of sleep for extra hours of practice. So here they have mentioned what kind of brutality he suffered. He was flogged, locked in the cellar and deprived of sleep for extra hours of practice. He studied the violin and clavier with his father. So there is the mention of his father and mention of the like instruments he used to practice on, as well as taking additional lessons from the organist around town. So he was not only taking classes from his father but also from other musicians. Beethoven was prodigiously talented musician from his earliest days and displayed flashes of the creative imagination that would eventually reach farther than any composers before or since. So there is no mention about his father's talent. Let me read the other question. So let if you don't find the answer like after some like a paragraph, after completion of a paragraph, before reading the next paragraph, it is better to read the next question. So if it is a not given, obviously there will be no information. I will get to a good idea about that. It is possible that Beethoven's early suffering led to his creative genius. So there is something about his genius ability. So he was a prodigiously talented musician, like he was a genius, but there is no mention about early sufferings led to this particular thing, or he was like born with these talents. Okay, and other than that, next question. Beethoven was denied hours of sleep as a punishment for poor performance. So we have read about denied hours of sleep, so deprived of sleep. So there was mention about that. So let's see, here they are saying denied hours of sleep as a punishment for poor performance, but there here they are saying deprived of sleep for extra hours of practice, not because of poor performance but to practice. So this answer should be false, and due to that these two answers will be not given. So this is quite easy to say because we have read the information. These pieces of information were not given, so we can easily say this is the false option. Now question number 6. Beethoven's Symphony number 3 was inspired by a famous man. So this is the name of the music. So this is basically, it will work as our locator word, sorry. So Beethoven, so when the answer will be true, when his symphony number 3 was inspired by a famous man. So there may be written some name of the famous man, maybe ABC, let's just say any name. So if that particular name inspired him, so we will say true. But if it is not a famous man, it's like a common man, and he inspired him, then we will say false. Or even if it is a famous woman, sorry, if it's a famous woman that inspired Beethoven to make this particular symphony, we will say false. So if it's a common woman or a famous woman, we will say false. When it will be not given, when we don't know who inspired Beethoven, maybe it's nature, maybe some animal, maybe some event in like maybe some event that occurred on that particular time that inspired Beethoven. We don't know about that, so we will say not given at that particular time. So let's see who inspired him. In 1804, only weeks after Napoleon proclaimed himself emperor, so this is the name of a famous person and himself basically a man, emperor, Beethoven debuted his symphony number 3. So this is our locator word. So he debuted his symphony number 3 in Napoleon's honor. So he played this So debut means basically opened for the first time. He played his Symphony Number 3 for the first time in honor of Napoleon because he claimed or proclaimed himself emperor like just few weeks before. It was his grandest and most original work to date, so unlike anything heard before, that through weeks of rehearsal the musicians could not figure out how to play it. So there is nothing mentioned about who inspired him or what inspired him to make this particular symphony number 3. So for this question, we will say that the answer should be not given. Okay, we don't know who or what inspired him. Maybe it's a common man, maybe it's a famous man, maybe someone else, maybe it's about nature or any animal or any event in nature. So we don't know what or who inspired him to make this symphony number 3. We will say not given. He debuted in honor of someone, let's just say he, because he proclaimed himself as an emperor, a king, so he went to his court and he played this particular piece of music to impress him. Okay, but why he made this music or what was his inspiration, it was not mentioned. Next question. Contemporary musicians struggle to perform the symphony number 3 on the opening night. So we have read something about opening night if you remember, and we have read in this particular context. So contemporary means modern musicians according to the time we are talking about. So here contemporary musicians mean musicians of 1800s. So, but they have said they debuted this symphony number 3 in Napoleon's honor. So sometimes student may say they struggled, but they struggled. Okay, so they struggled. Okay, here it was written. Weeks of rehearsal, the musicians could not figure out how to play it. So it was during rehearsal they were facing some problems, but when they played it on the opening night, on the debut night, they played it like flawlessly, because if they would have struggled, the king would have ordered to like put them behind bars or cut their heads off. Okay, something like that, but there is nothing mentioned about that. So obviously inference is like they were able to play that particular piece of music, otherwise it would be like catastrophic for them. So did they struggle? No. So our answer to this should be false. Last question. In the early 1800s, Beethoven struggled to follow a conversation. So before like beginning this particular question, I just want to discuss what this 1800s mean. So in one particular century, there are 100 years, and from 1801 to 1899. So these are called something about 1800s. So 50 being the midpoint. So years before the 50, like from 01 to 49, we call them early 1800s, and year after 50, 51 to 99, they called it late 1800s. So early 1800s, there may be some particular year given like 1810, 1820, 30, 40, 1825, 35. Any year could be given from 1801 to 1849. So the information we have to verify is Beethoven struggled to follow a conversation. So he was not able to follow conversation. Basically, he was going deaf. Let's see. At the same time as he was composing these great and immortal works, Beethoven was struggling to come to terms with a shocking and terrible fact, one that he tried desperately to conceal. So there was some negative going on in his life. He was going deaf. Yes, he was not able to hear the conversation. By the turn of the century meaning to say when the century just started, so early century, Beethoven struggled to make out the words spoken to him in conversation. So he was not able to understand what the people were saying. Not only understand, he was not able to hear what the people were saying. So Beethoven struggled to follow the conversation. That's true. So this is how you should solve your answers. First we will check our answers. True, true, not given, false, not given, false, true. True, true, not given, false, not given, false, true. So this is how you should solve these readings. So if you do like this in the beginning, it may take some time to get accustomed to this particular method, but once you do, you will always be able to find the correct answer, and it will improve your reading scores immensely. You will start to find reading a lot more easier and more interesting to solve. So I have uploaded more such videos, and I'm gonna also leave the link of my website in the description box. You can check that out too. We have Cambridge modules and other modules for you to practice for all the four tests like reading, listening, writing, and speaking. If you want to take our help, you can contact us on our website. We have helped lots of students to achieve band 7 or more in their speaking and writing also. So if you are struggling with these particular modules or even reading or listening, we will be glad to help you. And I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.